Hello, this is Indy, and this is my video response to RPG A Day, question number 13. What makes a good campaign? I am learning that right now myself. After 23 years of role-playing, I am just starting to figure this out. So the first thing that's probably important for a successful campaign is that the campaign has a goal. It has an endpoint. Every one of my campaigns up to the one that I'm trying to wrap up right now has simply died a slow and painful death when people stop showing, or people move, or people get a really strong urge to play a different game. So a campaign doesn't need to be railroaded like some kind of module, but it definitely needs to have a clear in view starting point, a clear in view kind of finishing point. That clear view may be of a concept and not details, but you know where you're going, and therefore you'll know when you get there, and you'll know when to pause it. You can always pick up the same characters in the same world and just say, what's next? You can always do that, but the campaign needs to have a finishing point, an idea of a story that's going to tell. Like I said before, I'm learning from my own mistakes here and finally catching on. The second thing it needs is a setting that the players know something about. I've been running Rolemaster for decades, like I said before. And Rolemaster is a generic system. It does not come with a system of its own. Certain aspects of it are clearly influenced from Middle-earth, which makes sense because ICE originally had the Middle-earth role-playing license. And they also have their Shadow World or Shadowland or something like that setting, which I've never used. I've always run my own, started from the very beginning. I had concepts that I wanted to use, concepts and stereotypes that I wanted to buck. So I've always run off my own. But this leaves players not really knowing what to expect, what to do, what makes sense, what they could achieve in the world. That's a weakness. I've always strayed away from popular IPs in role-playing. I always feel like, and maybe that's a mistake, but I've always felt like, look, if I got into Star Wars RPG, none of the adventures we have are going to live up to what I've watched on the screen. If I had gotten into Buffy the Vampire Slayer RPG, don't think I would have done that, even though I'm a huge BTVS fan. The drama and the laughter and the horror wouldn't have probably matched, especially at least not regularly enough to make me feel like, hey, we belong in this setting, that we aren't just being little wish-filled, fantasy-filled fanboys. So I've always stayed away from known IPs like that. And not being a Dungeons & Dragons player, this leaves very few other IPs to be involved in. That's hurt us somehow. Now, if I was to say use Earth Dawn like I spoke of in Day 12's video, or Dragon Age Origin, there isn't a ton of really well-known setting out there. There are definitely people who have probably consumed it all. But the nice thing is, it's still right there in the books. You can look it up. You can read about it. And that has enough, that's enough of a fertile ground to work from, and not so much that you feel hemmed in by the popular icons of the setting. I think that might be all I have right now. With my history of running very sandbox-like games, I'm not sure that I know anything more or have any ideas about how to make a campaign that has the kind of structure I talked about in point one, having a successful execution. Be really looking forward to everybody else's comments on this and see what I need to think about and integrate. If you'd like to find out more about RPG A Day or RPG Brigade, this year's hosts, the links are down below. You can also go there to find other people's answers to these questions and share your own. Feel free to comment down below with any of your responses to these same questions, or to post links to other people's content that you found also interesting.